Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Lunenburg Select Board. Today is Tuesday, December the 12th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel, on Facebook Live, on the Public Access Facebook page, and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. We're going to start tonight. I'm just going to flip-flop the order and just do some public comments first. Turn to Heather to, if you want to introduce this public comment.
Does Officer Wagner want to come up?
I'm Officer Wagner, Sergeant Tossi. I am the newly appointed K-9 handler here in town. We just wanted to stop in. This is K-9 Cody. He just finished his patrol school. He is a German short-haired pointer. He's just over a year and a half. We just finished about 560 training hours. He is certified in tracking, articles, and obedience. We have our narcotics school in April, so we'll be doing that for another 8 weeks once that starts up. And we just got on the road about 3 weeks ago out of school, so we are excited to be back. Yeah, we just wanted to stop in and introduce ourselves.
Excellent.
Thank
That
you.
is fabulous.
Yeah.
It was a great dog.
Excited to be here, so we just want to stop and say hello.
Well, thank you for
I
coming.
appreciate it.
And it's good to see Sergeant Tossi here with you as well, our former K-9 officer. I'm sure he's going to give you some good pointers,
Helped a
although
lot, oh yeah.
very different breeds.
Yes, very different.
We'll see if next time when he comes, if he can give his name and address.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll work on it. Well, thank you, we just want to stop
Well,
in.
good luck out there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you,
Have a
Officer
good night.
Wagner.
Thanks.
All right. Do we have any other public comments this evening from the public?
Hello, Anna Lockwood, 91 Main Street. It's a little tough to follow the puppy, you know. Not going to be as popular. But I think it was last meeting, I heard Mr. Alonso talk about, maybe we should have some rules about remote meetings, like turning on the camera. And I actually, if you guys are going to be talking about this in the future, I agree with you. And I actually even go a step further, which is, there is something about in-person meetings. I do appreciate that if there is a group that only meets remotely, I think citizens should have a way to request for in-person meeting. Not for bullying or anything, just for a more frank one-to-one, person-to-person discussion. I don't know if the Massachusetts law would actually include that, but that might be something that we can do it as a town. Just a thought. So anyway,
I'd be for it.
there you go.
Sorry, no, I'm wondering if there's a technical issue. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Is that actually?
Showing
It wasn't me, okay. You had a very inquiring.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, am I
wasn't-
saying something to offend you?
She's like, did I say something wrong?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we only accept comments in English.
there we go. All right, that's all.
Well, thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Lockwood.
Thank you.
All right.
Everything's
So to the booth, are we okay with the communications right now?
I know, Zoom?
Yeah, we saw that message come up.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was, I just hit not now.
Okay.
Yeah, Microsoft.
I think it is.
All right, do we have any comments this evening any other additional public comments this evening? All right, seeing none, any public comments from the board this evening?
I do, a couple things. First of all, I want to thank the Boys and Girls Club for hosting a supporters thank you with the cookie, I don't want to say swap because it wasn't a swap, it was a cookie giveaway or cookie fiesta, but it was a wonderful event, it was really well attended. The kids did a small performance, and as is usual at these events now, usually one of the members gives their story. Selectwoman Empey and I were both there when that happened. That was really, really nice, and it's great to see it getting and continuing to get the support it does. So thank you to them for hosting that, and and all the cookies were great, by the way. Second thing is, I just want to announce that tomorrow at 12:30 at the Eagle House is the birthday party for Mario Patacchiola's 100th birthday. His actual birthday is not tomorrow, his actual birthday, I think it just passed. But anyway, the celebration at Eagle House is tomorrow at 12:30, so I wanted to announce that. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll do the easy one. Pancake breakfast tomorrow at Eagle House / Lunenburg Adult Activity Center. Tomorrow, December 13th, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Tom, you took one of my items, so thank
sorry.
you. No, that's not sorry. Thank you. It's in here. It doesn't matter who said it. But his actual birthday is this coming Friday.
Okay.
But last Friday, I had the pleasure of attending the 100th birthday celebration of Fred Cuddy, the second inductee into the newly formed Century Club. And as I noted at the when I spoke to present the letter, I presented a letter from the board, and I will be attending tomorrow for Mario as well. I have always regarded, I'm a student of history, as I think most people know, a very intense student of history, and I've always viewed older people as living history. They connect us to the past in a very real way. So to hear the story arc of a person 100 years old, and to think about what that person has seen in their lifetime. I noted at the event that I, even as a little kid, 6 and 7 years old, I would pepper my grandmother. She was born in 1913. I would pepper her with questions about the Great Depression and World War II and the New Deal and FDR. And I mean, this is what I'm thinking about when I'm 6 and 7 years old. I was the only 10-year-old that could totally exhaust an older person's desire to talk about their past. And anyway, to hear the story arc of a person 100 years old, who has memories of the late 20s, the Depression, the 30s, not only memories of World War II, he participated in World War II. He was an active duty military. Just amazing stories and also some hilarious anecdotes in there too. So a really very vibrant and totally with it, an energetic 100-year-old. It was great to see. It was very inspirational. So, and then tomorrow there'll be another one. Believe it or not, there are more and more people getting to be 100. It's a good thing. So
It'll be very interesting tomorrow, because I think that the background, although they're obviously very different and grew up in very different environments, a lot of their stories, biographies, kind of overlap in ways like the service and like the times they grew up in and everything. So it'll be interesting. I'm hoping to be there tomorrow. I'm sorry that I could not be there for Fred's. But yeah, it is a very interesting thing, and that's all notwithstanding the peculiarity of you being a 6 and 7-year-old and asking about the Great Depression. But that's the Great Depression when I was 6 or 7 was the post-holiday period.
hey, I was a real funzo kid, you know.
I could, no, I'm sure.
All right. Do you have any additional public comments this evening? No? All right. We're going to move on to announcements.
I'll just do the announcement about the Master Plan Steering Committee. The survey is out right now, and that's posted on the town social media and under news and announcements on the town website. And the committee wants to hear from you about how you want to, the master plan for the town. Town offices will be closed in observance of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day on Monday, December 25th, and Tuesday, December 26th. And just a note for everyone, thank you for your generosity. We were able to, all the angels from the Giving Tree have been taken. Those gifts will be picked up this Thursday.
That is excellent.
All right. Excellent. All right. I'm not aware of any communications from other boards at this time. Let's see, no appointments, scheduled appointments. We're going to go to interviews, appointments, reappointments, and resignations. So to the town manager to present the request for ratification.
This is an easy one. So Sandy Ritchie was the assistant meal site manager previously. She resigned in May of 2023, but she has reconsidered and she applied to be reappointed to the position. So she was in that role from 2016 to May of '23. So she's well-versed in the role and.
Too quiet at home?
I think just reconsidered, yeah, that she wanted to be back at it again.
All right. I agree, it's pretty straightforward. Are there any questions for the town manager? And if not, is there a motion?
I would move that we ratify the town manager's appointment of the assistant meal site manager, Sandy Ritchie.
Second.
All right, any additional discussion? Yeah, no roll call tonight. As many as are in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, congratulations to Sandy for her reappointment to the, as the assistant mill site manager. Excellent. All right,
Thank you.
to the town manager report.
All right. I'll start with the board, committee, and commission vacancies. There is one vacancy on the Architectural Preservation District Commission, one vacancy until the next annual town election for the Cemetery Commission, one vacancy on the Conservation Commission, one vacancy on the Finance Committee, one regular member and one associate vacancy on the Green Communities Committee, one member at large vacancy on the Open Space Committee, and one vacancy on the Personnel Committee. Anyone interested in any of these positions can find the volunteer application on the town website, complete it, and return it to our office. And if you have any questions on the roles and responsibilities, you can call our office at 978-582-4130, extension 144. For employment opportunities of the town, the following is a list of current openings. The Digital Services and Outreach Librarian, which is 34 hours a week. Facilities Superintendent, which is 40 hours a week. Finance Director, 40 hours a week. Heavy Equipment Operator, 40 hours a week. Land Use Director, 40 hours a week. Principal Assessor, 40 hours a week. And Staff Librarian in Young Adult Services, which is 30 hours a week. Information on each of these positions can be found on the town website under Job Opportunities. I was contacted by our Verizon State Government Affairs Regional Director and Comcast to submit letters of support for their applications to the Massachusetts Broadband Institute for the Broadband Infrastructure Gap Networks Grant Program. Grant funds can be used to expand the fiber optic network and facilitate offering high-speed broadband for unserved and underserved residents and businesses. All carriers were encouraged to apply, and municipalities are being encouraged to support all applicants to maximize connectivity. According to Comcast in Lunenburg, Comcast has a few areas they currently do not reach for different reasons, and this grant would allow them to reach those homes. And I spoke with the Verizon government liaison, and if granted the funding for Lunenburg, their program would be connectivity through fiber throughout the town.
They did say that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was the town representative during this MBI project build-out during Deval Patrick's tenure as governor. And it was very encouraging that we were doing that. I realized at that time it was mostly geared toward the western part of the state that had severely actually no service in high speed as well as underserved. And we were just a passing community that really were on the cusp of that. We had a couple of service areas, and Verizon in Fios touches certain edges of our town, but not the center, and Comcast was the only other one. There was at that point no 5G or 4G home network. And it was very disappointing in that the initiative taken by the MBI never really amounted to anything. It was really supposed to encourage smaller vendors to provide broadband, and that was one of the reasons why we wanted it to go through our town, and we were instrumental in helping that route through our town. So if we can get to the point where it's offered, as somebody who has applied to Verizon for 11 years now, looking for FiOS. You know, I'll only support it if they have agreed that that's what they're going to do, because otherwise I won't support it. I mean, I won't supporting them. I want a commitment that that's what they're going to do if they get the grant money. Now, I'll take it on their word. But, you know, it was encouraged that other companies, not the big giants, were going to come in. And getting big giants coming in to use a public backbone seems to be, you know, it raises eyebrows, at least that way. I don't want to cast aspersions on anybody's motives, but if it gets it to the rest of the town, fine, if that's what they're going to do. But the fact that it's leading to unserved and underserved, I have a funny feeling, allows them to get places for other parts in the state again. So, when are they looking for us to support this?
No, I should have been clearer. So they asked me to submit those letters of support, which I did for
Oh, you
both
did already?
Verizon and Comcast.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Because I was
okay.
contacted last week and the deadline was
Yeah.
Monday.
Of course,
So,
because that's the way government regional directors work.
but I also reached out to our delegation to let them know we submitted those letters so they can advocate for funding for Lunenburg as well. So,
And for here, it should be kind of a slam dunk, because it's already in the edges of the town. All they have to do is bring it, you know, into the center. Sorry.
an update on the fiscal '24 community compact grants. The town received the $25,000 that we were awarded for the community compact best practice to create an inventory and asset management plan for our bridges and culverts. The DPW director is currently soliciting cost proposals for that work. So those funds were officially received by the town. Not every grant is like that. Some are reimbursement after the fact, but this was a direct deposit after award. The other community compact best practice to develop, document, and implement financial policies and practices will be undertaken directly with the Division of Local Services. I met virtually with the project manager from DLS's Financial Management Resource Bureau on Monday, December 10th, and we reviewed our priority needs, the process, the timeline, and the next steps. I had drafted updated financial policies and administration and operation procedures using the format the DLS has used in other communities, so I shared this information with the project manager, as well as the current select board financial policies that are currently in effect, and other information such as our procurement manual and audit comment on creating written key administrative and financial functions. My next meeting with the project manager will be during the first week of January, and we will include our finance team on that meeting as well. The goal is to have a rough draft complete by the end of January and fully reviewed by the end of February. Any changes in policy will be presented to the board for adoption, and we will include other relevant committees such as the finance and capital planning on the process as well. Any questions on that? Regional tour by the Rural Affairs Director, Ann Goby. Last week, Representative Scarsdale reached out to me to let me know she was doing a driving tour of Pepperell, Lunenburg, Townsend, Ashby, and Dunstable on Friday, December 8th, with the Rural Affairs Director, Ann Goby, and to ask if I could provide additional landmarks and issues, opportunities facing Lunenburg right now. I provided Representative Scarsdale locations of importance to the town right now, including the redevelopment of 925 Mass Ave, the revitalization of Marshall Park, the location of the proposed 40B project on Howard Street, and the Leominster-Shirley Road corridor improvements we are looking at regionally. Other noteworthy items I included to relay were our lack of parking in the center of town, our aging town buildings we are looking at a long-term solution for, and the upcoming decisions that need to be made regarding the Turkey Hill Elementary School. Governor Healy created the Director of Rural Affairs under the Executive Office of Economic Development to work with local, state, and federal partners to provide resources and assistance to aid rural communities in order to shape and achieve their vision for economic development. The director currently serves 181 of the state's rural communities, and the mission is to help each rural community to use their unique economic assets to grow the economy and unlock job creation. Update on Green Communities Competitive Grant and Annual Report. The LED streetlight conversion project is officially complete. We received our finalized approved incentive application back from Unitil on December 7th. We originally were expected to receive $33,400, and the final incentive approved was $37,900. The Green Communities grant amount for the LED project included up to $172,140. Once we have confirmed that we have received all associated invoices for the project, I will report on the final cost. Currently, we have spent about $139,000, not including the approximately $90,000 to purchase the lights from Unitil, which is not an eligible expense for the Green Communities grant. The FY22 Green Communities Competitive Grant also covered $5,000 towards the hybrid cruiser in the fiscal '23 capital plan, and up to $10,000 in funding for administrative support for use of MRPC staff to complete reporting requirements. Kayla Kress of MRPC worked with the school, DPW facilities, and myself to complete the annual report, which was submitted in November. And now that all the projects are complete, we will need to submit a final report by February in order to submit an application for the next round of funding that will open in the spring. Our energy consultant, George Woodbury, worked with Unitil in developing the appropriate wattages for the new LED fixtures for an outdoor light billing agreement that outlines the LED light types that were installed and will be maintained by the town, and the kilowatt usage the fixtures that Unitil will have to provide delivery of electricity to. On my end, I worked with town council and Unitil's attorney to address any language changes in the agreement that was provided to us from Unitil. It's a pretty standard agreement, and just MTC had a couple minor changes to it. FY25 budget process, I will be meeting with all the relevant department heads this week to review their department needs for fiscal '25. Target budgets will be sent out before Christmas and due back in early January. I will present the 5-year financial forecast and capital plan recommendation the week of January 15th, and the fiscal '25 preliminary budget is the week of February 12th. The Finance Committee will begin their budget meetings with departments on February 22nd and end on March 21st. The Finance Committee public hearing will be on March 28th, and the annual town meeting is Saturday, May 4th, just around the corner. In my world. Feels like tomorrow. Fiscal '24 pro forma recap. The pro forma recap and required excess levy capacity letter has been submitted to DOR. The only remaining form to be submitted is the overlay form, and that needs to be signed off by the assessors in Gateway. And they are aware of that. Request for proposals, invitations for bids. The Lunenburg Adult Activity Center generator project bids were due December 6th, and we received 4 bids. The low bidder was deemed a responsible bidder, and the bid was awarded to Morse Brothers of Westminster for $99,940. The lead time on the generator is approximately 16 to 18 weeks, so the project will be completed in the spring of 2024. And this is a project in the fiscal '23 capital plan. The Public Safety Carport project is currently out to bid, and bids are due on December 20th. Mass Ave at Chase Road and Mass Ave at Electric Ave and Lunenburg Crossing road safety audit. Mass DOT held a meeting to conduct a road safety audit at the end of September. After the meeting, Mass DOT repainted the yellow center lines, white edge lines, and white skip lines on Route 2A the week ending October 13th. The final road safety audit report was submitted on November 13th. Update on staff trainings. We held an Excel training class last week for town employees, and there will be another one this Thursday. So like beginner class, intermediate, and then come spring, we'll be holding like a advanced and power user type class.
All right, thank you. Any questions to the town manager on the town manager's report?
I just was wondering, is there any progress on filling any of the open positions?
Not since last week, no updates.
Not getting any closer?
I'm hoping we're closer on
Okay.
on a couple, but
Okay.
nothing that I could announce.
Okay.
Any additional comments, questions? I have a question on the safety audit. I know a resident had reached out to, note some concerns about the intersection, about the Chase Road Mass Ave intersection as well as going down to Electric Ave. And looking at the audit, my question is, they seem to propose that they have some long-term plans. So my question is, do we have any indication of what their timeline is for more permanent revisions? It seemed to indicate that there were some short-term things that could be achieved. It was a pretty lengthy report, but that there were some short-term goals that they could achieve, and then there were some longer-term objectives that they could achieve. And so that's just the question of, do they have a timeline for implementation of some of the longer-term things identified?
I'm not aware of one, but I can ask that question.
Yeah. All right. I know there's a couple of residents who are keeping an eye on that because they have concerns about that. There was, one of the takeaways I'll comment was, as you go towards Walmart, there was concerns about the right lane being right turn only, and how well that is communicated as you head into that intersection. And what I took away from the report was that they don't believe that that lane should be right turn only, and that it should be right or go straight, and that there should be the natural merge that happens after the intersection, which I know many residents wanted that to be a right turn only lane. But it seemed, so that, that's one of those things I like to get a little more information on, but there was contact information in the report, so I know that we can reach out to Bill or to the DOT directly to get clarification on this.
Seems to be a losing battle, but
Yeah.
that right lane is often used as the right passing lane.
Yes.
And that's what people do. They get to the thing and they race to get to the person ahead before it merges in, 300 feet ahead. Not even.
Whatever it winds up being,
Right.
it should be well marked.
Right.
One way or the other.
Yeah, yep, I agree. All right. Okay. Thank you to the town manager for the detailed report.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, we have a vote on third quarter preliminary tax bill insert. So in our Google Drive, trusting everyone has had the opportunity to read through this, my question to the town manager is, will this be put on letterhead before it's sent out to residents?
It can be. It's kind of a combined message between assessors and treasurer collector's office.
Okay. I think it would look a little more official with the town seal or something on it. I don't think it needs to say
Yep,
select board.
I would
but-
agree with you. Can we, Mr. Chair, can
Yes.
we let the people know, because they're going to receive this anyway, but use this opportunity as we're talking about this to tell them what these 8 bulleted items are?
Yeah.
Because they're very important, and we cannot stress, I cannot stress enough, how much I want people to know this going forward. And if we have to repeat this every 2 weeks before they get the actual bills, that won't be too much.
I will gladly read it. Thank you for that point, Selectman Alonso. As we noted in the bills, you will get this insert. So for those at home, it will read as follows. Dear Lunenburg taxpayer, we are writing to explain that due to delays in certification of the property values this fiscal year, we will not be able to send out tax bills with actual values before December 31st, 2023. Therefore, the enclosed bill is a third quarter preliminary or estimated bill. This means that this third quarter bill will not exceed the amount in your first quarter and second quarter preliminary tax bill, and any adjustment in value done as part of this fiscal year's valuation process, let me breathe there, and the fiscal year 24 tax rate will all fall on the fourth quarter. Let me say that one more time. This third quarter bill will not exceed the amount in your first and second quarter preliminary tax bill, and any adjustment in value done as part of this fiscal year's valuation process and the FY24 tax rate will all fall on the fourth quarter. As a comment, usually we see this spread between the third and fourth quarters. The deadline for abatement applications will be moved from February the 1st to May the 1st. Exemptions will be in the fourth quarter actual bills. Betterment assessments will be in the fourth quarter actual bill and will not be included in the third quarter preliminary bill. Sewer usage liens will be in the fourth quarter actual bill and will not be included in the third quarter preliminary bill. Personal property bills will be in the fourth quarter actual bill instead of the third and fourth quarter personal property tax bill. It is very likely that the fourth quarter will involve an increase larger than normal because it cannot be spread over 2 quarters as it normally is. Fourth quarter actual bills will be mailed out no later than March 31st, 2024, and will be due by May the 1st, 2024. Taxpayers that are on a fixed budget and need to plan for the expected higher fourth quarter bill have the option of making a payment in advance of the fourth quarter actual bill, and this will be applied to their actual bill once received. We apologize for any confusion or inconvenience this delay may cause you and are happy to answer your questions. Our contact information is below, and this is signed by the Lunenburg Assessor's Office and the Lunenburg Treasurer and Collector's Office.
I have a question, and it may be for the Board of Assessors, but will the bills be, the fourth quarter actual bills be available online before, I would assume? They're available online before we could get them in the mail?
There will be disclosure period as far as the revaluation process that will be posted online. We're required to post it for a certain number of days. I think it's 5 days. And then there's a comment period as part of that. And then,
So I think the soonest, the sooner residents can get their eyes on the actual bill, the better. To give them more time to, I mean, we're already
Digest,
trying to give them,
yes.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're under a time schedule.
Yeah.
With our contractor consultant doing the work, Vision. So there's, we have to follow that, and we won't have that information,
Right.
you know, as soon as we have it.
Yeah, if there's something available online, I would suggest we make an announcement saying it's.
The values would be posted,
Okay. And we'll know the tax rate by
and
then
then
too, so
we'd have
they can
to
do the math.
schedule.
We have to approve the
There'll be a
tax
tax classification
Yeah, we'll have to.
hearing
Yeah.
that will set the tax rate.
Yeah. So then they could do the math.
Well, hopefully by that point that we have the rate, I've made it very clear to this board and the Board of Assessors that I don't intend on approving any rate unless they have a spreadsheet with all the tax bills, what they're going to be for everybody before we approve it, because I don't want any surprises like last year.
Yeah.
I want to thank the town manager and the assessor's office and the treasurer collector's office. I think these points are so, so important. And thank you, Mr. Chair, for reading them tonight, because I think we should probably read them every few weeks, because, again, the big thing that happened last year, among a whole host of things, was the surprise
Yeah.
of this, and this is not a surprise, shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. This is the way it's happening because of the timeline, and that this year is a 5-year reevaluation without a principal assessor, so we had to get an outside consultant, and that time frame took us longer, but this is what to expect. And it's, again, what the normal increase on the Q1 and 2 tax bills, estimated tax bills, which are usually recovered over 2 quarters, will now be recovered over 1. So the increase itself might not be any larger than it would have been in a normal year, but the fact that it's all due in 1 quarter will make it look much larger.
If I could also add, I was going to, do you know when we're expecting, with the slide, when we're expecting the classification hearing to be? Probably like January?
It has to
No.
be somewhere in March.
March, okay. And then, yes, I was going to reiterate to Mr. Alonso's point that he has previously brought up. I think we absolutely need to see not only a spreadsheet, but also, and we have some pretty intensive data people on the Board of Assessors right now, so I think that they would have no problem putting this together, but also specifically flagging any areas that might see and disparate impact or increase, like different indices around town, or classes of properties like, say, are single-family homes getting hit more than, or, single-story homes, for example, getting hit more than two-story houses, all of that type of thing. If there's some sort of way to categorize, if some category of home or property is getting disproportionately impacted, to flag that as early as possible, so that people do have the runway to deal with it, more of a runway than last time.
That's been a consistent message that has been said over and over at every meeting with our consultant, with the assessors, as well, anyone involved in the process, that we want to get the information out as early as possible and communicate it as much as possible.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I was going to bring this up in committee reports, but I'll bring it up now. So I was thinking about this, and it came to my attention that I don't know that we ever, I know that Mr. Franco acted with the Board of Assessors during a certain period to help them run the meetings, but I don't know that we ever established, and we probably should establish, a liaison to that. It's a board that we don't have a liaison to. And I wonder if, A, we should do that. I personally think we should. And if so, if we haven't already done it, I'd be more than willing to be that liaison. So just those two things, two separate points.
Lou, have you been functioning as a de facto kind of
Not
liaison?
since the composition has changed. I mean, I check in on it, I watch the meetings periodically, and, I don't want to get too comfortable about them being on autopilot, but they seem to know what they're doing. But I was never, I don't think officially appointed as liaison. I was sort of serving that function in an informal capacity during the chaos with the old composition of the board. And I would just say that I'm also very happy to have Tom serve as liaison to that, to the Board of Assessors as well.
All right, Tom, would you like to serve as liaison?
Yeah, no, I think I said that, yeah.
Oh, we're all in agreement?
Sure.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
We'll-
Thank you for
We'll take that as
volunteering.
official, that we don't need a vote on
No.
that? Okay.
Unless Heather was saying yes, but no, we don't need a vote.
I always say a vote never hurts, but.
I think based on our rules say that the chair can appoint liaisons. We don't practice that. We practice that we volunteer, and, we kind of go that way. But if we want to do an official vote, it's not on our
I'll do it,
agenda.
so if no one else is clamoring to do
An
it.
official vote will take less time than debating with
Yeah,
the
yeah, we can do it. We can just do it.
I move that the Select Board appoint Tom Alonso as liaison to the Board of Assessors.
Second. All right, any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. I didn't see any abstentions.
abstain.
Okay, any abstentions? One abstention, all right.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Did we actually take a vote on the insert?
No, we haven't yet.
Okay. I'm like, did I miss something?
No, we're still talking about the insert.
Okay.
Tom, did you have any other comments?
No, I mean, I think this is an excellent insert. I've reviewed it before it got to this point, and I'm in complete favor. I think it's excellently written, hits all the salient points, and again, would be very important. Again, once it goes out with the Q3 estimated bills, at some point, maybe before then, we should probably, again, post it somewhere in maybe the Board of Assessors part of the webpage to make it available as an important notice.
So I think looking at the data, we can't tell people exactly what their taxes are going to go up by. The average roughly is running about $240 a household when we do a 2.5 increase plus new growth, and the last couple of years it's been between 210 and 250 roughly. However, that's not to say that people will only get a $250 increase. We know that the average last year was $248, and I think that 10% of the town got $3,400, and 90% got like 81 cents. And so, average is not always an indicator of what people will see, but typically when we get our increases, just to put that into numbers, I've been pretty much averaging about that 200, 250. So rather than me seeing in my Q3 tax bill an extra $100 and then another $100 in Q4, I'm expecting that I'm going to see 250 roughly in Q4.
And not to get too much into the mathematics, what you want to know really is the median. You don't want to know the
Yeah.
average, you want to know the median.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So is there a motion to approve the third quarter preliminary tax bill insert?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any additional discussion? And we did note that this is going to be put on letterhead, so with that correction, I think all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. All right, we are unanimous. Excellent. All right, we're going to hit our annual license renewals. So this is the time of the year where we go through our licensing, our licenses as the licensing authority for many things. I'm going to start with the limousine license. Let's start there. So we have two companies that are on the list. I will read them. First Choice Limousine and Transportation Service, also known as First Choice Limousine out of 55 Chase Road. And then we have Thomas Krautz operating Lloyd's Limousine Service, P.O. Box 502. Last year, I know I held up a bit on Lloyd's because they don't actually have a business in town. They are located in Fitchburg. Looking at our rules, there's kind of two things. So our rules would indicate that if you are a Fitchburg-based business, but you're looking to operate door-to-door in Lunenburg, that you still need to get a license in Lunenburg. So in that sense, I think it's appropriate. But there was just one question, which was, and this is in our own rules, and it says that persons, and this is under section 4.18 in our rules and regulations on our limousine license, and I'm looking at the fourth paragraph. And it says, person applying in Lunenburg must first obtain a use and sign permit from the building inspector for permission to operate business from home or whatever location is used. And I'm just noting that because I don't know if that is consistent with the rest of the language that we have, given that we do, the language to me seems to suggest in the earlier sections that, anyone who's operating this type of business out of Lunenburg needs to come and get this, but then we're tying it into a use and sign permit. So I'm not, do you have any clarity on kind of?
I don't have any clarity about what the intent was. I can say that I think that the use and sign is important, that you don't want somebody who's operating one from an active address in Lunenburg to not have a sign out showing that. If they don't, like this business doesn't have an actual address, then what sign, are they going to put a sign on their P.O. box? I mean, there's nothing to put a sign on. I don't think it's there to prohibit people from out of town. I think if we didn't do this, we would actually potentially hurt people in our own town who probably use them, because I know Lloyd's is actively recommended on the social media pages in Lunenburg. So I don't see any reason not to grant it. I don't think, as you indicated, I don't think there's any requirement that they have an actual address. And that second part about signage is just to avoid somebody running one from an address, but not indicating that they're doing so.
Yeah. All right, so I think I was a little confused. I agree with everything you said, Mr. Alonso. I think I was a little confused by the language person applying in Lunenburg, and if we need to clarify that. But from what you just said, it sounds pretty clear in and of itself. So, all right. Okay, let me go backwards to the list. All right, so I guess I will make the motion on this. It's probably easier for me to make the motions and read them since we don't have the clerk with us tonight. So I move to approve the limousine licenses for First Choice Limousine. I move for the board to issue a limousine license for 2024 to First Choice Limousine and Lloyd's Limousine Service.
Second.
Any additional discussion?
I do have one thing in the future. Whoever, is Elaine putting these together?
Yep.
So can she actually make sure that she doesn't go to a different row, like row 3, she should put an enter in there? Because it looks like there's 3 items instead of 2, but one of them is just the same name on another row. So that can be clarified, because a lot of times I'll just look at the side row.
Okay. All right, we have a motion, we have a second, any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, those licenses are issued. Let's go to auto dealer. We're going to hit alcohol last. Auto dealer license renewals. All right. So, for 2024, we have, for under Class 1 auto dealers, we have Colonial Imports, Inc., doing business as North End Subaru. We have Colonial Imports West, Inc., doing business as North End Mazda. We have Recreational Dimensions, Inc., doing business as Central Mass Power Sports. We have Joe Smalley, or Smalley Auto Sales, Inc., doing business as Daewoo North. Under Class 2 licenses, we have Carol and Henry Baker, doing business as Baker's Towing. We have KB Agimon, doing business as KB Cars LLC. Lunenburg Auto Center, Inc., doing business as Lunenburg Auto Center. Mass Ave Motors, Inc., doing business as Mass Ave Motors, Inc. John Gogan, doing business as JG Service. Colonial Imports, Inc., doing business as North End Subaru. Michael R. and Robert C. Lovewell, doing business as RC Motors. Michael Bartnowski, doing business as Casey Sales and Services, LLC. Chapter Lane Truck Center, Inc., doing business as Chapter Lane Truck Center. Jack Nassif Enterprises, Inc., doing business as J&E Auto Sales. Jose Iris de Oliveira Jr., doing business as Maxi Auto Center, Inc. And for Class 3, Michael Chapterlane, doing business as Chapterlane Auto Salvage. I move to approve the 2024 auto dealers, Class 1, 2, and 3, as read.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We are unanimous. Common Vic. Common Victular. Vic, how do you say this, Tom? Victor?
Vittlers.
Vittler. Colin Vittler renewals. All right.
Took me 12 years to finally find a place that I should say that, right.
It's funny that they're referred to as common Vics,
Yeah.
but then it's pronounced Vittler.
Because it's difficult to pronunciate.
All right. For common Vics, we have 449 Corporation doing business as Lakeview Club. AN Corporation doing business as Hilltop Farms. AGD's Cafe LLC doing business as Lunenburg Diner. American Graffiti Inc. doing business as American Graffiti. BBK Group LLC doing business as Bangkok Hill. Embers Lounge and Restaurant LLC doing business as Embers Pizzeria. Genghis Inc. doing business as Jack's Country Variety. Global Montello Group Corp. doing business as Honey Farms, number 3829. Il Forno Restaurant Inc. doing business as Il Forno Restaurant and Catering. JD Enterprises Inc. doing business as Shady Point Beach and Campground. Zheng Zhonlu Inc. doing business as Asian Imperial. KCM Donuts Inc. doing business as Dunkin' Donuts, and this one's at 451 Mass Ave. KCM Donuts Inc. doing business as Dunkin' Donuts at 400 Electric Ave. Conrad's Cafe Inc. doing business as Dippin' Donuts. Lakefront Beverage Inc. doing business as On the Rocks. Lanny Orchards Inc. doing business as Lanny Orchards. Lunenburg Gas and Market LLC doing business as Lunenburg Gas and Market. Lunenburg Zetas Inc. doing business as Bad Larry's. Mahat Baker's Variety Inc. doing business as Baker's Whalum Variety. And Neshoba Valley Donuts LLC doing business as Dunkin' Donuts on 134 Leominster Shirley Road.
Oh, you're dueling Dunkin' Donuts for Centennial.
Yeah. Yep.
I do have a question. I don't see, and just only for my own edification, I don't see Conrad's on here. Did they not apply for one?
They did not.
Are they going to?
I don't think Elaine has heard anything back from them.
All right.
Didn't this happen like a year last year
Yes.
too?
Mhm.
Yep.
And there's one other license that,
Still
at least
is.
one other that owes taxes and such, that's not on the list.
All right. What about Stillman's? Do they sell, but do they need to go through us?
No, I think they under an
They-
ag
under-
license, they're allowed to do
Under
it,
farming,
I
okay.
believe.
Okay. All right, so we're just making that note. Can we get a follow-up on if they're planning on applying, or, for Conrad's? And if you can send the town, if you can
They
send the
were-
board
everyone was told
Multiple times.
multiple times that the 19th is the last date the board is meeting to do licensing.
Okay.
I mean, it could be that he's going to apply and just reapply for it. I don't know if there's a whole hearing or not,
It- For,
because it doesn't, I mean, he doesn't do business right now anyway.
Yeah, they don't sell alcohol.
all right, so it would just be, yeah, new common vic license.
All right, if there's any other businesses to the town manager, if there are businesses that are currently operating or that were in operation for this calendar year that are not applying for a license for next calendar year yet, if you can just send the board that communication.
I'll have Elaine send that.
Thank you. All right, we went through the common vics, and this is for 2024. So I move to approve the common vics licenses as presented.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, we have approved the common vics. All right, let's hit our miscellaneous licenses. All right, jukebox and entertainment and automatic amusement devices. So I will read these in more detail, so that way we can do them all together. We have Lakeview Golf Driving Range doing business as Lakeview Golf Driving Range at 15 Carr Ave, and this license is for base/golf. We have American Graffiti Inc. doing business as American Graffiti at 113 Summer Street, a license for a jukebox. We have Lunenburg Zetas Inc. doing business as Bad Larry's at 1 Main Street, number 4, requesting a jukebox. We have 449 Corporation doing business as Lakeview Club at 449 Whalum Road, requesting a jukebox. We have Il Forno's Lunenburg Bar Inc. doing business as Il Forno's Restaurant and Catering at 494 Electric Ave, and they're looking for a weekday entertainment license. Lunenburg Zetas Inc. doing business as Bad Larry's at 1 Main Street, number 4, also requesting a weekday entertainment license. Smokestack Roasters LLC doing business as Smokestack Roasters at 39 Mass Ave, also requesting a weekday entertainment license. We have the 449 Corporation doing business as Lakeview Club at 449 Whalum Road, requesting 4 automatic amusement devices. And we have Whalum Gas doing business as Whalum Gas Service at 1 Whalum Road, requesting 2 automatic amusement devices. I move to approve the miscellaneous licenses for 2024 as presented.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We are unanimous. Okay. Now for the alcohol. For the alcohol license renewals, we received in the police report incidents, there's a summary from Chief Gamble that identifies the different businesses and different concerns. We also have the police records from different businesses identified. So before we go into the licenses, are there any concerns, anything we need to hold for this week to get more information on?
From my perspective, at least based on the police chief's letter, it doesn't appear that there are any direct things that would constitute violations.
I concur.
So do I.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead then into, I do appreciate the police for providing that level of detail. It was really good to read the letter with that letter of detail, also to read through the reports. While there are incidents that occur, they don't appear to be violations of our policies at this time. All right, let me go ahead back into alcohol license renewals. Out of curiosity, we don't have any weed stores. I'm like, why don't we have the,
That's a different
dispensaries, so
license,
that's
yeah.
all right. 2024 alcohol renewals, and I will read these in detail. We have the 449 Corporation doing business as Lakeview Club at 449 Whalum Road, requesting a general on-premises all alcohol license. The AN Corporation doing business as Hilltop Farms at 1 Main Street, package store, wine and malt. American Graffiti Inc. doing business as American Graffiti at 113 Summer Street, restaurant, all alcohol. Central Mass Garden Center, doing business as Central Mass Gardens at 621 Chase Road, package store, wine and malt. We have Elena's Gourmet Grocery, Inc., doing business as Elena's Gourmet Grocery at 1 Main Street, number 8, package store, all alcohol. I'm going to come back to that. Embers Lounge and Restaurant LLC, doing business as Embers Pizzeria at 84 Lakefront Drive, restaurant, all alcohol. Genghis Inc., doing business as Jack's Country Variety at 1353 Mass Ave, package store, all alcohol. Global Montello Group Corp., doing business as Honey Farms, number 3829 at 134 Leominster Shirley Road, package store, wine and malt. Il Forno Lunenburg Bar, Inc., doing business as Il Forno Lunenburg Bar at 494 Electric Avenue, restaurant, all alcohol. Jing Junlu, Inc., doing business as Asian Imperial at 5 Electric Avenue, restaurant, all alcohol. Lakefront Beverage, Inc., doing business as On the Rocks at 96 Lakefront Drive, restaurant, all alcohol. Lanny Orchards, Inc., doing business as Lanny Orchards at 294 Chase Road, package store, wine and malt. Lunenburg Zetas, Inc., doing business as Bad Larry's at 1 Main Street, number 4, restaurant, all alcohol. Mahant Baker Variety, Inc., doing business as Baker's Well and Variety at 423 Electric Avenue, package store, wine and malt. Red Pepper, Inc., doing business as Ixtapa Cantina at 308 Mass Ave, restaurant, all alcohol. I want to come back to that. Sarjuda's LLC, doing business as Lunenburg Liquors at 433 Electric Avenue, package store, all alcohol. Settlers Crossing Enterprises, Inc., doing business as Settlers Pub at 994 Northfield Road, general on premises, all alcohol. So I asked to hold, I know that we have a note here that the license is being renewed in order to be transferred, and this is related to Elena's Grocery, but it doesn't look as though they had to pay.
For the renewal, it was probably for the new licensee would have to pay for the new license.
I don't think I see the new license.
Well, it's
It
because
would
the
already
new
been-
license hasn't been approved by the
Right.
ABCC yet.
Yeah.
But you would think, I mean, I'm okay with it as long as we note that we should get the, what is the package store all alcohol? $1,450, that somebody should pay that at some point.
That was, for when the new license went through, that should have been the cost that they would, when they had applied, but I'll confirm with Elaine.
Okay. So you're going to confirm that that's been paid as part of the new license application, and you'll come back to us on Elena's. So for our motion tonight, we're going to remove Elena's. I have a question on Ixtapa. We received a report from the chief over the summertime that indicated that they were not in compliance with regards to having the alcohol policy on premises and available for staff. Can we get an update on if they're now in compliance to that? The last update we received was that they were still out of compliance.
Yep.
So I'm going to hold on Ixtapa as well for next week.
It's fine.
All right.
Were they the only one that didn't have it on?
Yeah, they were the only ones. There was, as I recall the letter, they had performed a re-inspect, and they were still out of compliance on the re-inspect.
And when was that from?
It was, I want to correct it, it was from the chief. I believe it was over the summer, beginning part of the summer.
Okay, well, we still have next week to do it. I don't have any problem holding it to just make sure we don't forget it.
Yep.
I don't want to, I mean, again, they're
Yeah, they're good business.
big business in town and.
Yep. All right. I move to approve the 2024 alcohol licenses as presented with the 2 exceptions.
So moved. Or I'll second, I'm sorry.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The licenses are granted, and we are unanimous. All right, so that hit alcohol, auto, common vic, miss, and limos. Perfect. All right, anything else on this topic before we move on to the draft board committee commission handbook? All right, so in our Google Drive, we have a draft board committee commission handbook. I will turn to the town manager to present how this came about, and and to present it.
Certainly. So this is something I've been working on intermittently with Elaine. Just as something that I've seen as a need for board and committee members as they're coming on, with some sort of one-place stop for a lot of information that they're getting from all different directions, from the town clerk's office to our office to, and this is just a first run at a draft, so I just want to put that out there first. So we can add on to it, including how to contact, how to set up a meeting through Zoom, who those points of contacts are, how to look into if you have email problems, what that process is. So just basically a list of resources, applicable laws, our policies that apply to board and committee members.
All right.
So this is brand new, this doesn't exist, this is?
Correct.
Okay. I just have one technical comment, and that is, I'm assuming everything shouldn't be page one.
Correct? There's a lot of formatting, but I think it's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'd like the whole idea, too.
Yeah.
Well, I did have some.
Doesn't, it doesn't print out that way, but
Okay, well, that's, okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you view it, yeah.
I'd also like to create a landing page on the website with all this information, as well as links for resources on that page as well.
I think it would be good, too, at some point, especially for elected officials, new elected officials, but it could be open to anybody, even existing ones, after the town elections, sometime in the beginning of June, to have a meeting where we hand this out, have a little introduction about, what's incorporated here, and answer questions about about just conducting meetings and conducting a general framework of business, because I think a lot of that is just not learned. We have a lot of people who come on boards nowadays. It was less so, I think, in the past, that have never even seen a meeting. Like somebody talked them into volunteering, and all of a sudden they're thrown into a meeting, and they're talking about motions and seconds, and they're just lost. So
We all read, the rules of law a little differently, probably, or implement them.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be touched upon in the next agenda topic, Mr. Alonso, when we talk about volunteer events and calendar. But I think that's a good point, and I think we should continue that in the next topic.
So what is the next step? Are you looking for us to read this and provide input, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I think a good approach would be a couple things, that we should workshop this in January, that we should set aside some time in January to really comb through all this, between now and then, for us individually to go through, look at some revisions and changes, and I'll meet with the town manager, we'll figure out the calendar, but likely it'll be the first 2 meetings of January, and we'll schedule a workshop, and we'll go through this page by page, and bring out all of our notes for revisions or things that we want more info on, and help get it to a better point. I know that there are some formatting concerns.
Yeah, this
No-
is a draft.
Yeah, no. Normally I would recommend posting things on the internet, but I don't think that's appropriate yet.
No,
I think
no,
we
I
need to do our own
Yep.
review first, and then once we get this to a good point, we can reach out for public feedback.
Agreed.
All right, so are you comfortable with that approach, us workshopping this in January? All right.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think the concept of this is great, and it looks like a great start to it, too, so thank you for the work on that.
Yep. Agreed.
And to hit the table of contents in here, just for those at home, becoming a committee member, oath of office, vacancies, resignations, lack of attendance, that's all the third item. Fourth, organization of boards, duties of officers. Fifth, quorum. Sixth, conducting of meeting. 7, meetings and open meeting law. 8, executive session. 9, posting or scheduling of meetings and agendas. 10, meeting minutes. 11, conflict of interest law. 12, standards of conduct for appointed town officials. 13, remote participation. 14, administration. 15, annual report. And then there's some, what's now identified as attachments, but maybe appendix later, sample meeting notice, an acknowledgement form, and we're calling it talent bank, but the volunteer
the old term.
application form. And then there's a list of all the town boards, committees, and commissions, and how they come to be, whether they're appointed, and who appoints them, or if they're elected. So I think this is a really good starting document. I only was able to review it briefly earlier.
I didn't expect any substance to be taken on this tonight, just an introduction.
Well, you got your wish.
She expected very little of us.
And we came through.
All right.
Deliver.
Any additional discussion on that? Nope. All right, let's put that back. We'll talk in January. All right. Next week, I'm sure you remember for our agenda, we do have approving of the, if we haven't received any feedback, the increases that were presented by
Yep,
the inspectors.
it's already on there.
Okay. All right. Next on our agenda, this is continuing theme that I think we had on the agenda about a month ago. What makes Lunenburg a great place to live, work, and volunteer? And so for tonight, what I wanted us to kind of have a conversation about or start thinking about are kind of what are those annual community events that happen, how we can bring this, I'll explain the thought. The thought is working with the regional economic development team. One of the things that they've really identified is promoting the activities that happen amongst different communities and really trying to have a common website that lists a lot of the different events, things that are going on, but that also link back to the different individual community websites that kind of comes from that master calendar. And it kind of highlighted that there's a lot of community events, and it would be helpful if we can work to get them into some kind of calendar. I wasn't sure, as I say this, if this is a culture council initiative, if this is something that we want to ask them to work on, if this is something that we want to work on. But I think the idea is, at the end of this, the thought is to think about all the different cultural or town events that happen in the year. And there's things that we don't do, but that happen. Like, you know, I can think of Shrieks and Creeks that I don't participate in, but everyone says it's a wonderful event, right? And there's the Easter egg hunt that happens every spring that I think the Lions Club, I think, facilitates that, or Corinne does. We have, you know, the tree lighting event that happens every year. You know, homecoming event that occurs. And so kind of looking at some of these events that we do and just getting them into some form of a calendar. So that way, as we kind of talk about, well, what can you do in Lunenburg in the course of a year, that we can identify these and then house them, preferably on our website, and promote them. So just kind of want to, again, presenting that concept. Is this something, though, that we want to work to compile, or do we want to engage Culture Council on this one to see kind of what they can do?
Well, I certainly, for myself, I don't think it's anything this board wants to get directly involved in.
Correct.
I think we want to do is facilitate it happening. And I guess the question would be, I don't know how the new website administration works. What I would envision from somebody who deals with websites and technology is that if we could get a volunteer in town who's willing to do it, and they have access to a portion of the website without going through our own, that means they have access to just one single page that has to do with community events, and people can email them, and they can put them up and tie them and test the links, make sure they work, and then list them there. That would be the simplest way to do it. That means get somebody to volunteer to do it who's interested, and allow them the authority to do it instead of handing it off somebody, because, you know, if it's going to be putting it on the website and then not going to be able to add things directly to the website, it's going to involve someone like Kara who's going to have to put it on herself. That's just going to add workload to her. That would not be good. So it would be nice to delegate one section of the website that only has access to that, to say, okay, you have authority to post things here.
What are your thoughts?
I think Kara could handle taking that on, honestly. Our new website has a tab down under upcoming events that's specific to town events. So if there's maybe a point person that accumulates all that information where it needs to go, because, or else if it's coming from different sources, she would have to know where it goes, but sometimes it's obvious, but I don't know if I was clear on that.
No, I think the only thing is like, as it's just as it's noted as town events, I think my thought is more like community events, that not every event is gonna be something that the town itself, town proper, puts forward, but is the intent just events that occur in town?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not like,
Right, that's what I would
Right.
think.
okay,
Yeah, versus public meetings.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think my thought coming into tonight was to see if this is something we can task to the Culture Council, for them to kind of take point on managing an annual calendar of different events and to communicate that back to us. Only because they exist, and it's probably, someone who's in the space may come from that group. I think what you were saying, Mr. Alonso, of having kind of that point person who compiles this, that may be the target group to do it, but I'm sure there's probably someone else who,
No, I just don't, I mean, some of the tasks are not going to be cultural council
Yeah.
events. I mean, or things that have even touched on their charge. That's why I hesitate to be supportive of that. And I mean, not that I'm against it, but I mean, I just don't think that some of these events may not be,
culture.
some of them will be, hey, there's sign up for, Pop Warner or, Little League or something like that, which we'll want the general public to know, but I don't think it's going to be in the
I don't know, do you think
Cultural
that's an
Council
event? Like, how far down
I don't know.
do you
I
want
mean,
to
I'm just
drill down
throwing out
to?
ideas,
Yeah,
like that,
like I
yeah.
think farmer's market, there's stuff related to the school,
that's
like
what we have to
homecoming, the games, like,
We have to do that discussion, like
Yeah.
first of all, we have to define what qualifies as a community event.
yeah.
Something to attend that's open to the public.
Right. Right, I would guess that would be true.
I know that's like about
No,
as
no,
basic
no.
of a definition.
The summer
as-
con-
Yeah, but that's, what?
Summer
Yeah, the summer
concert, yeah.
concerts, yeah. I mean, we could ask them, I don't know what their, again, what their feeling would be.
If they have any if anyone would be interested. Only, like I said, I'm only thinking them because it just might be the pool.
The problem is if you give it to a council, or you give it to a body, then they have to meet.
Yeah.
And that could slow things down. If you gave it to a person that says, okay, you take all the input, and then you decide what should be on there with these criteria, and then you give it to Kara to say, put these on, and maybe we put them on a calendar and we color code them. These are from the school, these are from from businesses, these are town things, so people can know what they are, at least a general color coding before they click on them.
Would there be interest in this being a student project to collect the information?
That'd be good too.
It could be. Good student government, probably.
Something, yeah,
Yep.
there might be interest in high school for some students.
Or in one
to
of your
do it.
civic
Yeah,
lectures,
I
you
know we
guys should do it. There you
I
go.
know, Lou. I gotta get some notes here. So I think what I'm hearing is, if we can see if there's interest from from the schools through Lou and I's liaison with them, we can figure that out. I think anyone at home who's hearing us and they're interested in
Yeah.
doing this can certainly step forward. So if you have any interest from the public, and this is a fun one, so this is something that's about as non-controversial, well, let's hope it's about as non-controversial as it can get. It's just helping to promote and identify fun things that happen. So we can see if there's interest from the public. And then if I can also reach out to Donna from the Culture Council, just to put a bug in her ear, see if anyone from the council, not the council, but anyone from the council is interested in particular. Okay.
Maybe from the Cultural Council, once they approve their funding request, the calendar of events that were approved by the Cultural Council.
Yeah.
I mean, some may be duplicative because they would be events or programs at, say, the library or some other venue that's already advertising that event on.
Well, you know what, Elise, I'd rather it be in more places than fewer. So if there's one that's an accumulated calendar and there's one that's, okay, the library webpage, just to use your example, has only a library events, but it's also listed on the larger community one, that makes sense, at least people can look for it.
And I think it hits people from different ways. Like, I used to see so much stuff when I was on Facebook, but now that I'm almost a year off of Facebook, I feel like I'm in the dark on a lot of things. Because I don't, you just don't hear about it.
Right.
generally.
Well, I mean, I don't have any children or, in the school, so I have no reason to go to the school thing. But I love when they do their theater programs or when they do their spring band concerts. And I never know when they are because I don't see them because I don't go on the school's site. And it would be nice if they were on the town site as well, because again, they're open to the public and
Yep.
they, I'm assuming, want the public to come.
And
Okay.
such things as like Veterans Day events.
Yeah.
Larger ones, like when the 300th anniversary committee starts their events.
Right,
We're
well,
gonna
that's going to
want
be critical,
yeah.
right, that we have this
Yes.
up and running and smooth, absolutely.
So I think we're going to put it out. If anyone at home is hearing us and you're interested in helping, identify, coordinate, promote, not really coordinate, but promote events, please let us know. Reach out to Elaine or the town manager, any member, and we are happy to take your help.
And I think the tricky part was going to be getting involved with all the people who are putting on these events to
Yeah.
send them. So we'll have to have an email set up called like events@lunenburgmass.gov, so that it goes, that we have people, anytime you have a public event, please CC that email so that whoever's doing this gets it. Because it's good if somebody's handling them, but they have to get things in to handle. So we need to tell the originators of the events to get them
Yep.
notification.
That's a great idea, an events email. Okay. All right, so we will bring this back up in a couple of weeks and see where we're at. I think that will help us. Any other thoughts on that? All right, annual volunteer events. So this was kind of along the same lines of thought, but, what identifying kind of what are those things? You mentioned one of them, Mr. Alonso, about, and this was also my thought, I agree with you, and it was a part of the thought that I had as well, is that we probably need to have some set events that occur throughout the year, such as open meeting law trainings, that maybe as a community, we always do them every year in, I don't know, March. That it would be helpful every June or July if we had, when we know that we're getting new members getting elected, getting appointed, to have that kind of session where we go over the handbook and really just kind of like an informal meeting as well, similar to the meet and greet that the Economic Development Committee put on. So that was kind of the thought, but what are some of those other volunteer things? We also have like Volunteer Appreciation Day that happens in the year. So,
That's been fairly successful. I wish it was more successful, but it's been fairly successful. The ones that have not been successful are those events that are geared toward attracting people who want to volunteer. Those are the ones that have been just very sparsely, if at all, attended.
Yeah.
And I don't know, again, I say this all the time when we bring up this subject. I've been doing this for like 18 years, and I wish somebody would tell me what we're doing wrong, because we seem, maybe other communities, I've never served in another community, maybe they all have the same issue about getting volunteers. But it seems to be really difficult to get people to put their name out there for even the simplest, even the least controversial of committees, commissions, or boards.
I think, I agree with you. I think we've been talking about this ever since I've been involved in the town, is how do you get more people involved? As I kind of reflect, what I think is community events help people get engaged in the community. They make people want to do more, if that makes sense. And I think that if we start promoting all the things that happen, getting the word out, it's probably going to start, people will start to come up with new events. They're going to start creating new stuff that maybe we weren't doing before, especially if you can get the message out there quickly and it works. Like if the events website works and we have someone who's helping to promote this and we can see the results and okay, if it's something that's appealing to the general public and I go this route, I can guarantee to get 50, 60 people there, that there might be more stuff. Like I know that the Cultural Council a couple years ago did like an art fair, and that would be something fun to kind of get going. But I think it's those events, like when I met at town meeting, this past town meeting, one of the women that spoke toward the end of the meeting, and we're like, we need to put a talent big form in her hand. She was actually someone that I ran into at one of the farmers markets. And it's like, and I'm using that as an example to say, like, sometimes you see someone in a different way, and you can engage them,
Right.
and they can, in a more casual setting, better understand kind of what they could do or can do.
Yeah, and those big community events, like I know it was done at Stillman Fair, I know we did it at other places. I know sometimes at the farmer's market, we had a volunteer tent that people could come up to, but.
No one comes.
Right, I mean, there seems to be, and I can guess at the reasons, but there seems to be just a lack of interest except for just an absolute fraction. It's basically almost the same fraction of people who vote at a town election as a ratio of the total amount of voters. Like, that's how many people volunteer out of the total amount of people who
Yeah.
might volunteer.
Yeah.
It's like 1%.
Well, I think the town boards are definitely only going to appeal to a certain section of the population because it requires a level of public speaking, it requires a level of public criticism sometimes, and that turns off a lot of people. But something fun like, a craft fair,
No, but you're talking about event, I'm talking about events to attract volunteers. If you're talking about fun events, yeah, if you want to have a big event, I can tell you one right off the top of my head that everybody clamors for all the time. But we just, we cannot find a place or the facilities to do it, and that is the bonfire was the
Yeah.
biggest single event. And there's not a year goes by that I don't have at least 10 inquiries. It is by far the single most inquired about event returning is the bonfire.
I agree. Those were a lot of fun
Yep.
as a kid.
Yep.
So volunteer appreciation or volunteer events, we have the, meet and greet trainings handbook. So I think we can work those into somewhat of a calendar. And then I noted annual employee events, and this isn't really on the town manager side as much as our side, that I think it would be helpful if there was one event a year, whatever the town manager decides, where the select board makes a point to attend. That's for staff. So, we don't often, we see department heads or talk to department heads a lot. But I know that a lot of the staff watch our meetings. I think it would be helpful if we made a point once a year or so to, serve them, lunch or something along those lines. And so I'll just ask the town manager as you think about that. I know that there's a holiday, something that you guys typically do. But if there's something that we can do to kind of just get in that rhythm of every year, we're going to be there and say hi to the staff that work for us and thank them for all the great work that they do. I think that would also go a long way. Just,
An event that, if you mention our name, encourages attendance and not that would be helpful too.
all right. So that was really it for thoughts. Anything else you guys want to, we are going to bring these back up, but anything else there? Okay. All right, draft environmental policies. So this is going to be quick. So if we go into our Google Drive and we search environmental, you're going to see, if you go into last year, October, I believe, 18th, we have a folder, and I believe it's October 18th last year. I'm pretty good about dates, but let me double check myself.
Well, if this is going to keep coming up, I would recommend
Yeah,
that
we
we take
put it
it,
into the-
we pull it out of there and put it at the
Yep.
top level folder.
All right, so in October 18th of last year, we have a folder titled Environmental Policies Draft, and there's two documents here. So one is kind of draft environmental policies, and then the second page, or the second document, is the research that went into those policies. So what I'm asking the board tonight is not, we're not really going to go into any detail here. I know that we presented these last October. We had on our calendar to hit it again in January, and then January happened, and it very much so took a backseat to the priorities of the time, of the year. So I would ask the board, these are pretty thick in terms of concepts, and so if we can take some time, and we'll plan to workshop this in January as well. And the idea is, there's going to need to be a lot more eyes on this. We're going to need to get staff feedback. We're probably going to need to assign some of these concepts out to AgCom or someone else. Maybe we don't make the policy, maybe we just encourage it to be created, such as we know right now that we have a lot of land that's being used by different farmers. Maybe we don't make the policy on it, maybe AgCom does. Or they draft it of what would work for them and then we codify it. So what I'm asking is if we can take some time to look at this, in between now and then, I'll also pull up the feedback that we received from the Conservation Commission, because we did reach out to them last year for feedback, and then also from like the pollinator habitat. They contributed significantly. Some of the personnel who volunteer on the pollinator habitat contributed significantly to this draft. And so kind of identifying those highlights and then planning a workshop to see what we can work on and what we can agree to and where we can go. Does that sound like a good approach?
I will just reiterate what I said when these were introduced, is that I don't think this is the board that these should be propagated from. If it's a starting point that we hand off to other people, it makes sense. I just don't see the board, adopt it. I don't see our expertise in environmental policies. So I said that then, I just want to reiterate that now because it's been a year since we've talked about it. But yes, I'm more than willing to look at them again.
Yep. All right. I think that the only way that we can effectively come up with environmental policies is it has to be a community kind of agreement. It cannot be a top-down approach.
Yep.
And so, if we float these ideas, the one that I like the most is number 3, just to say. I like 2 and 3 the most as we read through these drafts, which is about tree and shrub identification in village district and pollinator habitat. But as we look through these, I really think that the only way we're going to get effective policy is if we have buy-in from other members of the community. And what would be ideal is if there was a lot of interest and there was an ad hoc committee or comprised of different boards or people that were willing to kind of take this on. But this is kind of just a researched starting point. All right. Any other thoughts there? All right, we will plan to workshop that in January. All right, and then the next kind of touches a little bit upon the town manager's professional goals for the year, but I know that there's also some carryover for us, which is coming up with a mission and vision statement. Whether it's for this board, whether it's for the town, but many successful organizations have a mission statement. Mission statements generally are defined as those, what is your purpose? What are we doing? And the vision is usually defined as where we want to go. Usually when identifying vision and mission statements, the SMART concept usually comes in where, SMART as an acronym, S being specific, M being measurable, A being attainable, R being relevant, and then T being time-bound or something that has a time limit on it. So if we take kind of that SMART approach to identifying mission and vision for either the town, our board, and then we can then start that process, or really it's codifying a lot what we're already probably doing. And then it allows us, as we move forward, to act in a way as an organization that's consistent with that mission, that's consistent with that vision. And so that's the thought. I think, why I'm mentioning it today. I know that, like I said, the town manager also has a part of this as well. But I just wanted to get the conversation out there to start it. I don't really think that we're going to have anything in depth here tonight at 8-something at night. But it would be helpful if we can kind of start thinking about what we would like to see. Mission always comes first. What we'd like to see in a mission statement. So that way, when we talk about this again in January, as you keep hearing, January's going to be some workshops. As we talk about this again in January, that we come kind of with some thoughts on what is a good organizational mission statement.
Does this mesh at all with the master plan?
That's what I was going to bring up. I mean, that's the purpose of a master plan, is to come up with a vision for the town.
Yeah.
Within that. And Lou can fill us in on where that processes, but, in the mission statement, that was one of my goals, is more of an internal, mission statement, which, I'm sure will be similar.
Yeah.
But, it's to create some common mission amongst departments, even though we have very different roles in a day-to-day environment.
Yeah. All right. So you'll get back to us, Mr. Franco, on kind of vision with the Master Planning Steering Committee, but mission is something that we can kind of, just like I said, what would we want to see? I know ideas like, we say we're a farming community, how do we tie that into a mission statement so that way in 10 years, 15 years from now, we can keep progressing along that path? All right. Any other thoughts? Okay. All right. I said tonight was going to be brief. That's all that I have for the primary meeting. We have a lot of signatures. We should probably do them during the meeting. And while we do any minutes to approve, no warrants. We have one. And action items. Any action items this evening? Actually, let me hit the warrant real quick. We have a accounts payable warrant in the amount of $346,641.46. Do we have any action items tonight?
None for me.
These are common vics. We didn't hold any common vics. How do you want them, Lou? One at a time, or?
Well, why don't we can usually do those after the
Yeah, we
meeting.
can do this. Yeah, these are all.
We have a big
Yeah.
signing brouhaha.
All right, we're gonna do all those after.
That might,
Yeah.
because not that we have the most energizing television, but this would actually bring down our ratings if we saw us sign 100 different licenses.
For the next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, I agree, we can do that after a meeting. All right, any action items? We didn't have any. Do you have anything for us to the town manager, anything you're waiting for us to do? All right, we already did the warrant, no minutes. Any committee reports?
Yes, I do. School committee met last week. 3 areas that came up and were discussed. First, I'll start with the easy one. They're looking to contact class officers from a number of the Lunenburg High School classes about money remaining in the unclaimed class funds. There was an article in the Ledger a couple weeks ago listing the classes. Some of them they have been able to contact, but as of last week, the ones I captured, that they were still trying to find the class officers for were the classes of 2003, 2007, 2010, 16, and 18. So they may have, in the last week, they may have found some folks from those classes in the meantime. There was a lot of discussion about the capital request for the Turkey Hill window engineering. I don't know if you're going to cover this with capital plan committee, but they voted to push that request to fiscal year '26. And there was a lot of discussion about the MSBA, their accelerated repair program, the lack of clarity in some cases, and really frustration around the timing of the MSBA process and the challenges that it poses for long-term strategic planning. And one thing that came out of that was Mr. Beardmore is going to draft a letter to the MSBA. And they hope to review that letter at the next meeting. Lastly, this was also covered in a article in the Ledger a couple weeks ago about the challenge facing them for the fiscal year '25 budget. This is due to loss of ESSER, but ESSER funding, but the bigger impact is really the expected increase in health insurance, which I've heard up to possibly 10% increase.
I had previously reported at one of
Yeah.
our meetings that that's what Maya told us to budget for at this point in time. So that's a universal, not just school, town,
Yeah.
and even more so because the town side of the budget also carries not only active, but retiree
So they did read a draft or a letter that they probably have sent it by now to the state legislators regarding the financial challenge that they're facing in the schools, so.
The Capital Planning Committee will be meeting next Monday and Thursday. I have sent out, as chair, I have sent out the 35 items that were requested from the different departments for FY '25. We discussed them last week at our last meeting, last Monday, a week ago yesterday, and now I've sent them the spreadsheets. They will rank, every member will rank them from 1 to 35 in order of priority, and then I will generate an aggregate score. On Monday, we will review those, discuss them, see what the final list looks like in order of priority in total across the town, and then have discussions about, if somebody wants to push harder and make an argument that things should be changed in order, et cetera. And then on Thursday, we look to have the final prioritized list voted upon and sent to the town manager so that she can have it for her budget process as required by the charter. FinCom met last week. I have not seen the recording yet.
Council on Aging met today. I don't have anything really specific to bring to the table from that meeting today, other than the big highlighting items are of the Century Club items, and then just the usual discussion items that we have as well, and continue to be mindful of how the Select Board can be supportive of Council on Aging. The Master Plan Steering Committee is meeting Thursday, December 14th at 6 p.m. in this room, assuming there are no conflicts. That's 6 p.m. Does that comport with your, do I have the time right on that, 6 p.m.? I think so. Steering, yeah, I believe it's 6.
I think so as well.
Sorry, I don't have immediate access to the calendar at the moment.
Get access to the calendar.
Yeah. I don't think I have it open for the
6 p.m.
6 p.m. This room, Thursday, December 14th.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right. I don't have any committee reports for me. Municipal Design will be meeting this coming Monday. Tomorrow night, we have a capital, Finance Committee appointment meeting tomorrow night at 6. So that should be a pretty brief get-together. That's really all I have. All right. Anything else? Okay. Mr. Nuzolo was doing some field, he's a field artillery officer. He was doing some live firing tonight out in the field, so he did let me know that it was unlikely he was going to be here. He did send me some pretty cool videos, though, or photos. It was, pretty cool to see what they're doing out there, but they're just launching a bunch of artillery shells. So, but he is expecting to be with us next week. Our next meeting is planned for December 19th. This is our last meeting of the year. For anyone at home who's watching and has not submitted your license renewals, please be sure to get them in prior to Thursday at noon, or whenever date was given to you previously, but certainly no later than Thursday at noon.
Are we meeting on January 2nd? Is that our next meeting?
I don't plan on meeting on January 2nd, but it is technically our next meeting, yes. Do you want?
No, I'm just wondering so the 9th is our next scheduled meeting? Okay.
All right.
I didn't know.
Okay.
We get 2 weeks.
Yeah. So our next meeting is going to be December 19th, and then, again, as you just heard, it's going to be the 9th of January. Tom, when do you take your trip?
That's not till February.
Oh, okay.
So the first week in February and the second week in March.
Okay. All right. Will everyone else be available on the 19th and the 9th? Okay.
The 19th.
Actually,
Yeah, no, I know. I believe so. It may have to be remote. I may be in Jersey that night,
Okay,
so.
all right. All right, any public comment this evening from the town manager?
No.
Any public comment from the public? Any public comment from the board?
none.
All right, the time is 8:39. I move to adjourn.
Second.
Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. All right, the time again is 8:39. We are adjourned. For those at home, thank you for joining with us this evening. Please stay safe and be sure to spend time during this holiday season with your loved ones and with those who maybe don't have any loved ones to spend time with. So reach out to your neighbors and understand that this is a challenging time for many. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Recording stopped.